So hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this particular video I will be explaining you this past paper that came for Sri Lankan Law College entrance examination to test your language skills, right? So those who are aspiring to become a lawyer by attempting Sri Lanka Law College entrance examination, this video will definitely be helpful for them, so you can just share with your friends and learn together. So I will be explaining each questions from the beginning. Okay, right. So let's begin with the first one. Before that, let me just start from the instruction. So this is very important. We do not use pencil to write down the answer. So if you are going for this language skills examination, always use pen for marking your answer. And when answering, write down the digits as mentioned below, right? You have to, when we are discussing the questions, we can see what it is, and write your index number here. And you know, don't write anything here because this is for invigilators use. Okay, and these are the instructions or the information regarding this paper. So this paper consists of 38 questions on 10 pages, right? So I will be explaining all the questions in the medium of English. I will not be talking in Tamil or Sinhala. So if you don't know any words, I will be just explaining some passive vocabularies also, right? So now we will try to understand this term, this sentence. This paper consists of 38 questions, right? So now you should be very familiar with tenses. So this is just simple present tense. Since this paper, the subject is singular, we have used consists of, the singular form of verb. So consists of mean nothing but contains, right? Contains. Now after the verb consists, always we have to put the preposition of. So this paper consists of 38 questions on 10 papers, right? So it has 10 papers and we have 38 questions. We have to answer all the questions, right? So there is no choice. We have to answer all the questions, and we have to answer the paper on the paper itself, right? So we can, if you need, we can use extra paper, I think, but we have to manage to write down all the answers on this paper itself. Comments answering only after the center supervisor announcement. Even though if you are given the paper, you shouldn't write the answer. After the supervisor announced to start writing only, you have to comments answering. You have to place your pen on the paper, right? Okay, instructions given should be strictly followed answering this paper, and marks will not be awarded for answers not in accordance with these instructions, right? Always follow the instruction, because you are going to become lawyer, so you are supposed to abide by the laws, right? Otherwise you cannot establish justice in the country. So it is important, it is mandatory to follow the rules as lawyers or law aspirant, right? Okay, so even if you are not attempting the paper, hand it over to the supervisor. Okay, let's say you don't know any answer and you have just come for time pass for the examination. You cannot bring the paper with you after you finish your examination. You have to hand over the empty paper, right? Okay, write the answers clearly and legibly in blue or black color ink only, and not in pencil, right? So that is what we have already seen. So you have to write down the answers clearly and legibly. So legibly means that is also clearly, right? So legibly mean, for example, legible handwriting means clear handwriting, right? So in my videos I will be explaining some passive vocabularies also. Now the first vocabulary that we are going to learn is legibly, right? So legibly means clear enough to read, right? So when the examiner is correcting your paper, if your handwriting is appalling, then he will struggle or he will be annoyed. So you have to write the answer clearly, right? So legible handwriting. Legible handwriting means nothing but clear handwriting, right? Okay, the signature was still legible. For example, the signature was still legible. Now what I mean by this is, now if you are asked to place your signature, you will just scribble on the paper, right? So now this doesn't look nice, but his signature was still clear, right? So that's what we mean by this sentence. That's all. Now we will move to the first question, that is, in each of the question from 1 to 3, select the incorrectly spelled word and write the number of relevant choice on the dotted line, right? So you are not supposed to underline, you are supposed to write the relevant choice in the dotted line provided here, right? So these rules should be adhered when you are answering the paper, right? So if you underline, even if the answer is correct, they will not provide you marks, right? Okay. Only if you write down the answer here in this provided dotted line only, they will consider. So for example, let's say this is the answer for the second question. So if you have just underlined it, or even if you have circled it, they will not give you the marks. Okay, right? So okay, I just, yeah. Okay, so the first one is practitioner, right? So for example, practitioner means, for example, medical practitioner. Medical practitioner. That is correct, okay? And predominant. Okay, predominant is also correct. And precaution. This is not correct because the spelling of precaution is P-R-C-A-O-T-I-O-N, right? So this is how it should be written, not this. So the answer is 2. And preconception, that is also correct. Now we will look at the meaning of these words, right? So the first one is practitioner. So as I told you, medical practitioner. So practitioner is a person who works in a profession, especially in medical field, right? So if you want to write down the meaning, this might be helpful for you. Practitioner is a person who works in a profession. Especially medicine or even law, right? Especially medicine or law. That's why they have asked this question in the law college entrance examination paper, right? So if you are a person working as a lawyer, now you are a law practitioner, right? Okay. Now the second one is precaution. For example, if you take now dental practitioner. Dental practitioner means he is a dentist. That's all, right? So the next one is precaution. Precaution. So this is how it should be written. So precaution means that is something that we do for avoiding some dangers, right? So for example, safety precautions and precautionary against fire, right? So now we will just look at the dictionary definition and the example sentences given in the dictionary, right? So precaution, right? So now precaution is something that is done in advance in order to prevent problem or to avoid danger, right? So let me write down the meaning of this word here. Something done in advance in order to prevent problems, right? In order to prevent problems. Now prevent mean like avoid, right? So these are synonyms. Problems, or to avoid danger, or to avoid danger, right? For example, safety precautions, and precautions against fire, right? So in order to avoid fire accidents, we have to take some measures or precautions, right? Or something that we do in advance. We have to take some fire extinguisher. We have to keep some methodologies to prevent these kind of hazardous accidents, right? So precautions against fire. And you must take all reasonable precautions to protect yourself and your family. You have to take all reasonable precautions to protect yourself and your family. Now we are just getting ready for the language skill examination. So now ultimately we will have to write an essay. So when we are writing essays, we have to construct sentences. So the more vocabularies that we know, the more beautiful our essays will be, right? So now this is just a starting point. So you can learn a lot of vocabularies with me, and we can just discuss all these questions in the video. And if you have any doubts or concerns, you can just drop me in the, or let me know in the comment section. And you can just subscribe to my channel and share with your friends also, right? Okay, now we will look at another example sentence for this precaution. I'll keep the letter as a precaution, right? So one person is telling, I will keep the letter as precaution, right? Yeah, now it means the letter will protect him in future dangers, right? For example, in case of any termination or any kind of incidents, he may use this letter as an evidence and protect himself, right? So this is why he says, I'll keep the letter as a precaution, right? Okay, now we will move to the next one, that is predominant, right? So predominant is nothing but most obvious, right? So that is easy to notice, right? A noticeable feature is called predominant feature, right? So predominant means most obvious, right? So for example, a predominant feature, right? So that is easy to notice. Predominant feature, right? Another example sentence is, yellow is the predominant color this spring in the fashion world, right? So what does it mean? Yellow, this sentence is just given in the dictionary. Yellow is the predominant color this spring in the fashion world. This spring in the fashion world. Right? So it has another meaning also, right? So if this is a spring, now we can see a lot of flowers, right? So the flowers might be in different colors, but most of the flowers are in yellow color, right? So that's why we say these are very noticeable, right? So wherever we see, we can see yellow color flowers. That's why we say yellow is the predominant color this spring in the fashion world, right? Everywhere we see, we can see yellow color flowers. Okay, that's all. Right. So it has another meaning also. The second meaning is having more power or influence than others. Having more power or influence than others, right? So for example, a predominant culture, for example, Western culture has become a predominant culture in the modern world, right? So if you want to construct sentences, you may use these vocabularies, right? Okay. Again, now we will look at the last word that we have, preconception. Okay. Let's see what preconception is. Now, preconception. Preconception means nothing but assumption, right? So we just assume something, right? So what is assumption? So assumption or preconception is something that must happen. An idea or opinion that is formed before you have enough information or experience, right? Assumption, right? So just I'm writing the description of this word given in the dictionary. An idea or opinion that is formed before you have enough information or experience. Right? For example, the synonym word, right? Sometimes in the English language skills examination, they might ask synonyms also, right? So they might create a question to ask the synonym of preconception also, right? So the synonym of preconception is assumption, right? So preconception synonym is assumption, right? So you should know this. A book that will change your preconceptions about rural life, right? So now this is an example sentence. A book that will challenge your preconception, that will challenge your preconception about rural life. Right, let's say you are living in a village and you know nothing about rural life and you have some assumption, okay, this is how the life in a city will be, right? So but they have published a book in which they have written the life in a city very in detail. So you can just read the book and understand what is actually happening in a city. So this book will definitely change or challenge your assumption or the ideas or the opinion you have towards a rural life, right? Okay, now we will move to the next question. That is, yeah, let me raise these things. Okay, now the second one is referendum, that is okay. Surveillance, that is not correct because surveillance, there is no word called surveillance. But superintendent, that is also correct. And irrespective, that is also correct. So the answer would be 3, right? because we do not have any word in the dictionary like this, surveillance, right? Okay. Now what is referendum? Now this is a kind of election where we get the people's opinion, right? So let me go to that word in the dictionary and give the meaning for you. Right. So referendum is an occasion when all the people of a country can vote on an important issue, right? So this is the definition, right? So now we will see what a referendum is. Referendum. Okay, so it is an occasion when all the people of a country, when all the people of a country can vote on an important issue. Can, for example, if the general election should be conducted or not, right? So we have to take the people's opinion, right? So we can, this is not a proper election, this is just a attempt to collect opinion from the people, right? Can vote on an important issue. Right. So the example sentence is Switzerland decided to hold a referendum on joining the EU. Right. So Switzerland decided to hold a referendum on joining the EU. Right. So here this is not an election, right? So if we want to conduct an election, we have to select the prime minister or the president of a country. But in order to take the opinion, now you see here in this context, so Switzerland decided to hold a referendum on joining the EU, right? So in the cabinet, if the ministers and the other people cannot come to a decision whether to join the European Union or not, now we have to go for the people, right? So by collecting the opinion from the people, we can decide whether to join the organization or not, right? For that, we have to hold a referendum, right? Okay. So the changes were approved by referendum, right? The next one is the changes were approved by referendum. What does it mean? Now let's say we have made some changes in the constitution or in something. So now we have to collect some information or the opinion from the people. Or okay, for example, in a company, if we have made some changes in the rules and regulation, now we have to get the approval from the employees also, right? So in that case, we have to conduct some kind of getting suggestion from the people whether this is okay or not to implement likewise, right? Okay. Now again we will move to the next one, that is surveillance. I think it should be surveillance or something like that. And then superintendent and irrespective. Superintendent and irrespective, right? So these two words you should know. Superintendent and irrespective, right? Irrespective. You know irrespective, and you might not be familiar with superintendent. Let me just introduce that word to you. Right. Where is that? Superintendent. So superintendent means, yeah, I have just superintendent, right? So this is the correct spelling of superintendent. So superintendent is a person who has a lot of authority and manages and controls an activity, a place, a group of workers, etc. A park superintendent, the superintendent of the school in Dallas, right? So these are some abbreviations. Now for police officers also we have superintendent of police, right? So you might have seen superintendent of police also, right? Yeah. So a police officer just above the rank of chief inspector, right? So let's say we have chief inspector, and above chief inspector we have the superintendent post, right? So this is used in police officers and other stuff. So if you want you can write, right? So police superintendent is a police officer. He is a police officer just above the rank of chief inspector. Right? So this is the meaning of the word superintendent. Now we will go to the third one, recruitment. Recruitment, that is okay because adding a person to an organization is recruitment. Magnificent, right? Magnificent. That is the wrong one because magnifi. Right? So this is the correct spelling of this magnificent, not S. There should be C. So the answer is 2. Okay. Psychological, that is okay. And sympathetic, that is also we know the meanings of the sympathetic and other stuff. Now moving to the fourth question. Here the instruction is each of the question from number 4 to 6, rearrange the words in the alphabetical order. Check with the answers given and write the appropriate number of the relevant choice on the dotted line provided. Right. So now we have to ascend the just order these words in their ascending order of alphabet. Right. So now reckless, recollect, reason, recognition. So the first 3 letters are the same. So we have just want to cut them off. Now starting from 4th letter, K, O, E, O. K, E, K, O, E, then O, right? So in the alphabet we have E first, right? So the C should come first. So we can eliminate this and this. Either first or third should be the answer. And then we have E, A, B, C, D, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O. O. After that we have O, and finally only we have K, right? So now in the remaining answers we should have the first letter at last. So K should be yeah. E should be first. 3 or this. Okay. C, then E5. Okay, D5. Why? I'm really sorry. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K first, right? So the second should be K, right? So after that C, A. We cannot go to the answer. Then we have to now in O, whether to find whether the second comes next or the last word comes next, we can just look at the next letter, that is L and G, right? So A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So D should be the next letter. So 3 will be the answer, right? So first we have to cut off the first 3 letters, and then we have to consider the fourth letters. So the fourth letter should be E should come first out of all the letters that we have. So we eliminated fourth and second, and then C, after that we have A, and then we have O, right? So from O we cannot come to the answer, so we have to consider the next letter, that is L and G, right? So in the alphabet we have G, L after G, so we will put D as the third letter, third word, and B as the final word, right? Okay. Now again, scurry, screen, sculpture, and scrutiny, right? So scurry, screen, SC, right? So we can eliminate SC, 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 SC. Now U R here, U R U U. So R should come first, right? So A cannot, this cannot be the answer, this cannot be the answer, this cannot be the answer. So the answer would be second one. Okay, right here answer is second one. But getting know the answer is not our goal. We have to understand the words here, right? So we will look at what scurry is. Now screen, you know, and sculpture means, you know, that is idol or like kind of model, right? Model used in parks and other things. For example, even sculpture means kind of model of human, like that, right? Okay. And scrutiny means like re-correction, re-scrutiny, right? So like correction, right? So we will just see scurry and scrutiny now, and sculpture also. Scurry, scrutiny, and sculpture, right? So these are the 3 words that we are going to learn today: scurry, sculpture, and scrutiny. So scurry means it's a scuttle. The synonym is scuttle. Synonym is scuttle. And the meaning of this word is to run with quick short steps, right? So this is a word, to run with quick short steps. To run with quick short steps. Now an example, she said goodbye and scurried back to work, right? So an example sentence, she said goodbye and scurried back to work, right? Scurried back to work. Aunt scurried around the pile of rotting food. Ants scurried around the pile of rotting food. Around the pile of rotting food, right? So now these are the 2 sentences that have been given for scurry. Now synonym is to run with quick short steps, right? So she said goodbye and she scurried, she rushed to the work, right? And ants were running on the rotting food. Now we will look at the word sculpture. Now sculpture means it's a work of art that is solid figure or object made by carving, shaping wood, stone, clay, metal, etc., right? So just let me write down the meaning of this word. A work of art, a work of art that is a solid figure or object, that is a solid figure or object Made by carving or shaping. Made by carving or shaping. Wood, stone, clay, metal, etc. Wood, clay, metal, etc. A marble sculpture of Venus, right? So this is kind of idol, right? So a marble sculpture of Venus. Venus is a lord, and now his idol is made of marble, right? Okay. Again, scrutiny. So scrutiny means inspection, right? So scrutiny means synonym is inspection. The description of that word is careful and thorough examination. Careful and thorough examination. Okay, right. So the example is, her argument does not really stand up to scrutiny. Her argument doesn't really stand up to scrutiny. The document should be available for public scrutiny, right? So the public also should examine the document, right? That is the meaning of this sentence. The document should be available for public should be available for public scrutiny. Okay, which means the document can be inspected by the public as well, right? So now her argument does not really stand up to thorough examination, right? What does it mean? Okay, if you don't understand the meaning of this sentence, just leave it and just observe how the word is used in our day-to-day sentence formations, right? Okay, that's all. Now we'll move to the next question, that is the next one, right? So now we have mortality. Mortality means nothing but death. Now morgue, morbid, mourning, right? So now I'm also not familiar with morbid and morgue. We will see the meaning later. And mourning and mortality we know, right? I will explain you the meaning of this mortality also. Now we will just first try to answer this, right? Then we can try to understand the meaning of these words. Okay, the answer should be MO, 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 right? So I can eliminate MO, 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 R, or R also, right? The first three letters of each word can be eliminated, and then we can start from the fourth letter. A, G, B, N. That is very simple, right? So first A should come, then C should come, A, C. So the answer is second. But coming to the answer is very easy, but we have to understand the meaning of these words, because sometimes in the next examination they might ask the meaning of the words used in this exam paper, right? So mortality means death. So the words that we have to study today are mortality, morgue, and morbid, right? Mortality, morgue, and morbid. Mortality, morgue, and morbid. morbid. We do not have E here. Okay, morbid. You see here, English is not our first language. Nobody knows everything. Even native English speakers don't know all the words in English. So we have to study more and more words. That is our main objective, right? So learning grammar will not help you anymore. So you have to learn a lot of vocabulary. That is very important. Okay, right. So let me go to the words in the dictionary first. Mortality, while watching this video you also can write down the meanings and study them along with me. Right, so mortality means the state of being human and not living forever, right? So mortality rate means death rate, but the meaning of the mortality, it has three meanings. Now the first meaning, technical meaning, is death, right? So hospital mortalities, right? So the first meaning is death. Hospital mortalities, right? So this is nothing but the deaths occurring in the hospital, right? Deaths in the hospital. Okay, and the second meaning is the number of deaths in a particular situation or period of time. The number of deaths in a particular situation or period of time. Okay, right. So the example sentence is the infant mortality rate, right? So the infant mortality rate. Now you see, infant mean baby, right? So baby. So the meaning of this infant mortality rate means the number of babies that die at just after birth, right? So the number of deaths or number of baby deaths, or the number of babies that die at or just after birth, right? Sometimes during the birth or just after a while, just after a while of the death, the birth, it may die, right? So the number of babies that die at or after birth. Okay, and it has the third meaning also. So the third meaning is the state of being human, right? Because human will anyways die, because human is mortal. He cannot exist forever in this world. So the state of being human and not living forever. The state of being human and not living forever, and not living forever. After her mother's death, she became acutely aware of her own mortality, right? So this sentence is very awesome. After her mother's death, she became acutely aware of her own mortality. Now we are all living, forgetting our death, but what happened is after her mother died, she also realized that she also one day will die, right? So that is the meaning of this sentence. Now we have to first understand how the sentence is structured, right? After her mother's death, right? So after her mother died, she became acutely aware. Now we have to understand why this adverb acutely is used here, right? So acutely means noticing or feeling something very strongly. Noticing or feeling something very strongly, right? So now you see another example using this word acutely. I am acutely aware of the difficulties we face, right? So I am acutely aware of the difficulties we face. I am acutely aware of the difficulties that we face, which means I strongly know the difficulties that we are facing currently, right? So that is the meaning. Acutely means very strongly, feeling or noticing very strongly, right? Okay. Now we will move to the next one, that is bog. Okay. Right. Morgue means a building in which dead bodies are kept before they are buried or cremated, right? Okay. So the meaning is the building in which dead bodies are kept before they are buried or cremated. Right? So now in a building we will keep the dead body before we bury or cremate, right? So if there is a dead body, we can do two final ritual for this, right? So either it may be buried, it may be dug into soil, or it may be cremated. Cremated means it may be burned, right? So bury means digging a hole, digging a hole in the soil and covering it with soil. And bury means, cremated means burn. Cremated means burn. Okay. Cremate means burn, and bury means, you see, Vijay is telling in a speech, kill them with your success and bury them with your smile, right? So kill them with your success and bury them with your smile. What does it mean? We have to kill. Okay, for example, if a person has humiliated you, you should become successful in your life before him, in front of him, and by smiling at him, you can bury them. Okay, so the person who humiliated you is killed with your success, and your smile is the burial occasion for him, right? So you can just remember this quote told by narrated by Vijay, and understand or remind the meaning. Okay. Now we have another word to discuss, that is morbid, right? Okay. So now morbid. Right. What is the meaning of morbid? Morbid means having or expressing strong interest in sad or unpleasant things, especially disease or death, right? So, having or expressing interest in sad or unpleasant things. Especially disease or death. Okay. For example, he had a morbid fascination with blood. Right? So some people like to suicide or to end their lives. So this is a sad or unpleasant event, but they show interest, right, to sad events, right? So that's why we call that mentality is called morbid, right? He had a morbid fascination with blood. He had a morbid fascination with blood. Now normally people do not like blood, right? But a person is liking the flow of blood, and when he sees blood he becomes happy. In that scenario we can say that he has a morbid fascination. He is more fascinated about blood, right? And some people had morbid fascination with suicide. That's all. Likewise, right? He might even die. Don't be so morbid. Okay, one person is going to die, and another person is cherishing him. So likewise, okay, for example, if a person is taking a risk, okay, and one person is encouraging, but the third person is telling don't be so morbid, sometimes he might die by taking this risk, right? So these are the usage of this word morbid. Okay, right. So now we will move to the next one, that is, in each of the question from number 7 to 11, select the most appropriate preposition to fill in the blank and write the number of the relevant choice on the dotted line provided against each question. Right. So now we are tested regarding the knowledge that we have. Our knowledge in preposition is tested here in this question. Right. So William Shakespeare's The Merchant of Venice has been translated. Now here after the verb translate, we have to put into, right? But what they are telling is to write down the relevant preposition on the dotted lines, right? So even if you write the correct preposition in this blank, you will not get marks. So you are supposed to write into here, not the word they are asked. Okay, so read the question meticulously. In each number of in each of questions from 7 to 11, select the most appropriate preposition to fill in the blank and write the number, right? So now what we are expected to do is we have to just write down the appropriate number of the correct answer. Right? So the answer is into, so we have to write 2 here. Even if you underline this into and write 2 here, you will get marks. But if you don't write these 2 in the dotted line and underline here, you will not get marks. Right. Okay. Right. The next thing is, there was a serious car accident at Vijayarama Junction this morning. Reportedly, a car has collided with a lorry, right? Because by reading only this will come to you, because we cannot study all the preposition that is coming after a particular verb, right? So you have to read newspapers and you have to consume a lot, then only you can produce a lot in the examination. So the answer is with, so answer is for here too, right? So now what does it mean? There was a serious car accident at Vijayarama Junction this morning. Reportedly mean what people say, right? Because you didn't see the accident with your own eyes, but according to what you know, based on what the people present they are told, you can tell that a car collided with a lorry, right? The next ninth question, Mr. Ravi Gamage, right? So I will now teach you the meaning of reportedly also here. So let me give you the description of that word given in the dictionary and the example sentence, so that you can use the word in your essays and other things also. Okay, so now we will study the word reportedly. Okay. Reportedly means according to what some people say, right? According to what some people say. You can understand the meaning of this phrase, according to what some people say. Example, the band have reportedly decided to split up. The band have reportedly decided to split up. Okay, so you don't exactly know whether the band is going to split up or not, but according to what you heard from what people said, you are telling the statement the band, the music band or whatever the band is going to split up, right? So they are going to dissolve the band, right? Okay. Now we will move to the next question, that is Mr. Ravi Gamage is an experienced lawyer in Sri Lanka. He has specialized in criminal law, right? So the word that we should write here is in. So one is the answer, specialized in criminal law. So we have several specializations in law. So if you are specializing in criminal law, then we can call it as he is specializing in criminal law. So you can write, I am specializing in criminal law, right? So likewise. Okay, moving to the next question. Finally, justice depends partly, right? So if the word depend come, so the preposition will be nothing but on, right? So on is the answer too. Now we will just try to understand the meaning of this sentence. Finally, justice depends partly on the caliber of people working in the legal system. Now what is caliber? Caliber is standard, right? So now it depends on the standard of people, right? So the people like you who want to become lawyers and judges, right? So we have to establish justice, and it depends solely or partly on the caliber or standard of people working in the legal system. Better legal education is vital to this. That's why they want to make you good lawyers by providing a good legal education, right? So the 11th one, the last question in this type. The crowd that attended the rally consisted mainly Right. So this word that we already discussed here as well, I mentioned you that the word, the verb consist will follow the preposition of. Okay. So the crowd that attended the rally, right? So it might be a political meeting, consisted mainly of university student, right? So if you take NPP now, so NPP many university students have joined, right? So of. The next one is 12 to 15. In each of the questions from number 12 to 15, underline the correct option to fill in the blank, right? So they don't want to write down the correct answer in the space provided. They are just expecting to underline, right? Most people enjoy reading historic or historical novels, right? So historical novel is the correct answer. Now we will try to understand what the differences between historic and historical. Okay. Which word? Whether historic or historical. Right. So historic is usually used to describe something that is so important, that is likely to be remembered, right? So historic is usually used to describe something that is so important that is likely to be remembered. Right? For example, today is a historic occasion for our country. Today is a historic occasion for our country. Now, the word historical usually describes something that is connected with the past, but the word historic is just like connected to something present, happening in present, right? Historical usually describes something, that is connected with the past. Or with the study of history. Or something that really happened in the past. For example, I have been doing some historical research. I have been doing some historical research. Right? The next example sentence is, was Robin Hood a historical figure? Was Robin Hood a historical figure? Okay, So these are the differences between the words historic and historical. So historic is something that will be remembered in future, right? So now today is a historic occasion or historic movement of our country, but historical means that really happened in the past, right? So I've been doing some research, some historical research means I'm researching what happened in past, right? Now, was Robin Hood a historical figure, right? So now you see Robin Hood is symbolizer, Robin Hood is a cartoon which symbolizes justice, right? So that's why they have included this question, right? So if you observe the questions that are asked in the law entrance examination, most of the questions are related to law, right? Law and justice and the legal system, right? Right. The next question is, in many countries steps have been taken to advise judges. Now you see here, after the to infinitive we will always put verb. So advise, the CE is noun, but advise is verb. So the answer would be this, advice, right? So advice, ADVICE, advice is noun, SE, advice is verb. Okay, so in many countries steps have been taken to advise judges to avoid social media as much as possible. Okay, right. The 14th one, as revealed in the court yesterday, the victim, right, who was affected had been threatened by the accused, right? So who was the culprit or the criminal, to keep quiet about the assault, right? So assault mean like attack, and attack. So keep quiet or quiet. So which word will come here? So this quiet is the answer, because be quiet, the teacher said be quiet, right? This quiet is like fairly or pretty, right? So she was quite beautiful, right? She was very beautiful. That is the meaning of this quiet. This quiet is, fairly, pretty. These are the synonyms of this first quiet. This QUIET, quiet, is keeping silent, right? So this quiet is keeping silent. QUIET is keeping silent, right? So the accused or the criminal blackmailed the victim to keep silent regarding the assault that he made on him. Okay, right. The next one is, according to some recent measure taken by New Zealand Human Rights Commission, people affected, right? What are the differences between affected and affected? Right. So we will just go through affect and effect. Affect, effect. Okay. So affect, effect. Affect is a verb, effect is a noun, right? So now we have difference. This is a verb and this is a noun, right? So this means to have an influence on somebody or something, right? So to have an influence on somebody or something. For example, does television affect children's behavior, right? For example, does television I can write does TV, right? So does does TV affect children's behavior? And now this is like noun, but this is not to have an influence. It is the influence that something made something on, right? So for example, you can convert the same sentence like this: does television have an effect, right? So does TV have an effect on children's behavior? Okay, on children's behavior. You see here the differences. Does TV affect, right? So this is now verb, but here does TV have? This is the verb and this is a noun. Okay, and effect verb is quite rare and formal and to mean have, achieve or produce. They hope to effect a. Okay, now don't worry about that. Now, does TV affect children's behavior? Does TV have an effect on children's behavior? So the word affect is a verb and effect is noun. So this is how these two words are used. And now with this understanding, we will move to that question and try to find out the answer. Right? So people affected. So there can be a word. We cannot coin such a word, right? So we do not add ed to a noun. Always we can add ed to a verb. So the answer is affected, this one, right? So New Zealand Human Rights Commission: people affected by domestic violence receive more legal protection. Domestic violence means the violences happening at home. Okay, right. Now we will move to the next question. In question from 16 to 21, fill in the blank with the suitable form of the verb provided within the brackets. So what they are asking is the form of verbs, right? So normally we have 5 forms of verb. They are base form and past tense, past participle. Let me just explain you the forms of verb over here. For those who don't know the forms of verbs, you have to understand that there are totally 5 forms of verb in English language. They are called conjugations of a verb, right? Conjugations, not conjunction, conjugations of a verb, right? The first one is base form, or we can call plural form as well. Okay, the second one is past tense, and the third one is past participle, and the fourth one is present participle, or we can call ing form. The fifth one, or the last one, is singular form. Okay, singular form. For example, if I take write, write is the base form, wrote is the past participle, written is, past tense, written is the past participle, writing is the present participle, and writes is the singular form of the verb write, right? And we can classify the verbs into regular, irregular and so on, but we don't need to bother about this right now. Okay, so we will just try to understand the question and try to answer it. Okay, so here Ravi is a legal officer at a private bank in Colombo, and he often now you see here go, the verb go is given, and he often, right? So the verb, the action that happens regularly can be expressed using simple present tense, right? So since the subject he is singular, we are supposed to put goes here. Why? Because go, went, gone, been and goes. These are the 5 forms of the verb go, right? So whenever we learn a verb, we have to know the 5 forms, right? So if they are specially irregular, we have to know how they fluctuate, right? Okay, but if they are regular, you can just simply add ed to past tense and past participle. But for irregular verb, we have to know the each form, right? Okay. Abroad on business trip, right? So this is just a simple present tense, right? Here we have used simple present tense. Last week he had to go to Tokyo, but he almost. Now you see here, so far we have discussed the regular action of Ravi, but now we are going to discuss a particular scenario that happened last week. So this is a past event, so we will use past tenses, right? So last week he had to go to Tokyo, but he almost missed his flight, right? He, then you see a missing, right? Because this is a regular verb. But here stand means this is an irregular verb. So we have to know the 5 forms, right? Stand, stood, standing, stands, right? So these are the 5 forms of the verb stand. Okay, so he stood in the queue. At the check-in desk when he suddenly realized, right? So here realized that he left his passport at home, right? So he left. Now leave, left, leaving, leave. So he left his passport at home. Fortunately, Ravi lives near the airport, so he had time to take a taxi home to get it, right? So he had, because all these happened in the past, last week. To take a taxi home to get it, he got to the airport just in time for the flight, right? So in time means not on time, before some minutes ago, right? Because he was not late. Okay, he was not late. Okay, because since he forgot, what is the reason for telling that he almost missed the flight? Because he forgot, right? So if he couldn't come to the return to the airport in time, he would have missed the bus. I mean, missed the airport. Okay? I mean the flight. Okay, right. So now we will move to the next question. We have some more questions. So I will upload another video explaining the remaining questions. So with this we will wind up this video. So if you found this video useful, please hit the subscribe button and like the video. And if you have any doubts or concerns, you can let me know in the comment section. And if you know anybody who is preparing for law entrance examination, you can share this video link with them as well. Okay, so till I meet you in the next video, bye.